So here we are at the farm, Saturday, June 22nd, 2024. Funny side note, it's exactly 3 years ago today that I was married in British Columbia, Canada. So here's a close-up of the potatoes as they're emerging. Good healthy leaf growth popping out all along as you go down the rows. Pretty uniform. A few were set a little deeper than others, but overall pretty uniform germination, and that's good. I've been up to the farm most of the week. I was up here a couple nights ago briefly with my daughter and my son and my grandkids. They had not seen the farm yet, so I wanted to show them. But other than that, I've taken a hiatus from it, trying to figure out how to deal with this head gasket issue. And here we are at the upper block. Just having a look at things here. Ginger's starting to take off nice. We got some new shoots throwing out. Nice green stalks. Tomatoes are starting to take and get established, and we can see new growth coming on them. We've kind of gotten through that stress period of establishment, so that's nice to see. The holy basil's taking off. Holy cow. You can really see the accelerate take effect on that. It really already wants to throw some flowers. But that's all right. That'll make a nice crop. And I got more of that seed to throw down tonight. I'm going to just bombardier with some cover crop with that around things. And I've been trying to figure out where I'm going to stick sweet potatoes. I think I'm going to come in here around the tomatoes and go down next to tomatoes or something and just let the sweet potatoes be part of that green cover canopy. You know, people often say, oh, don't put tomatoes and sweet potatoes and stuff together because they have the same pest, but we don't function from that model. We function from the model of building true plant immunity, and then pests and diseases are no longer an issue. So when we come from that perspective, we don't mind putting plants together that have similar nutritional requirements and similar pests, because if we can address those similar nutritional requirements, we can eliminate those similar pests. So these are all taken. You know, it's slow growth initially. Have not gotten down the foliar feeds or amendments or mulches or any of the stuff that I would like to have had down already. But I'm going to try and follow up over the coming weeks and get these plants up and rocking, and I've got more to put in. And it feels good to be getting something farmed. So that's nice. So real quick here, I'm not sure how much rain we got here last night, but I know at my place we got about 0.6 inches. I would think we got plus or minus around that here. And I'm going to point out soil moisture a little bit, and then how things are, you know, they're damp and green, but they're not super damp. But if we come in here into this microclimate, just at the edge of this ridge where the rock meets the soil, and you can see all this moss here and ferns and how moist this terrain is, how green it is. That's all that moisture coming down off of that rock ridge and settling right in here and helping build all this microbial community and ecology. And then as they grow out and build more, they're building more humic matter, and so they're able to hold even more moisture. So this is basically building its own oasis over time around the rock. Coming along, coming along. A little muggy out there today. Definitely got some more thunderstorms coming, I think. So just a quick checkup on the figs here back at the lab. They're doing really well, throwing out green shoots everywhere. I think I only saw one when I was inspecting yesterday that looked like it might not survive, so it looks like we have success on nearly 100%. So that's an excellent cloning method. Just take woody cuts, stick them in sand, keep the sand moist and, you know, at a reasonable temperature, and they'll root up in a few weeks or a month, and then you pull them out and stick them in, let them green up, and then we'll get them transplanted into the ground, and away we will go with a fig orchard, just like I guess that. When we're back at the lab, I'll just talk about what's going on propagator wise here. I went back and took like 25 cuts or so of elderberry on the property here. It's really late season to try this, but I thought I would give it another try. I'd like to propagate a few of these up to the farm, and eventually want to get really good at propagating these, because they have high value as a living plant for a sale as well. So that's a longer term goal. On another note, we've got the specialty catnip from my friend Neil. Got a bunch of seed in here started on that. And then over here we got sweet Thai basil, a bunch of seeds started on that. Just put those in the other day, not germinated yet. Over here, underneath the sand, this sand is left over from the fig propagation, but underneath it is some good Kiss mixed soil with a bunch of turmeric in it, so I expect that will be popping up through eventually. And then in the top layer on the sand, I saved some strawberry seed from a local farm stand, just spread it in there, and we'll see if some of those germinate. If they do, we'll have a strawberry patch started as well, and that's kind of cool. Over here is some more turmeric. This is the backup lab copy, basically, from everything that went out on the farm. Want to ensure that we still have a living genetic copy here in the lab in stock. Living seed stock is important for what I do. Over here, a few nettles that volunteered in a planter, and I just transferred them because they're a very powerful tool for soils, for human health, for all sorts of things. Maybe we'll get into that at some point. Some remixed soil here that I saved, and this is a peony. When I planted a couple of clematis plants for my mom, and this peony was in one of the spots, and I dug it out. I have plans to do that, something with that as well. I'm going to propagate those very heavily. We'll get to a video on that in the future, probably. So that's everything in here for now. And then over here in the shade, I had a crate with a bunch of already started ginger cuts from my friend, and a few pepper seedlings and a tomato seedling for him as well. And then over here is that tarragon that I bought from Adams and propagated from little tiny pots out into here. And these are overdue to propagate out into a much bigger area. So I'm going to transplant some of these out to the farm, and I'll probably propagate some more of these locally here in the lab. I might put some at my mom's, etc., etc. But these I set deep in the soil. So each of these was a single plant basically, but I set them deep so that each single plant could root out. And then now we get 3-4 plants for each plant that we set. And then now, as they're doing that, they're setting out new shoots, and we can actually take cuttings off of this, let these grow out a little bit, and take new cutting shoots off of each of those, in addition to all the root mass that we developed. So from like 15 plants in 6 months or so, I can probably go out to easily 100 tarragon plants. So it's all about efficiency of propagation. So then out here we have the ginger that I transplanted the other day, and I harvested some of that out. Some very nice stuff. I shared some with my daughter and my son-in-law, and I shared some with my mom, and I shared some with my friend, and I've got a bunch here that I'm going to make something with. I think what I want to do is go back and dig up Nick at Rooted Leaf's ginger bug recipe and make some really nice ginger beer with it. I got to take the time to go dig that up, but I do have a bunch of sugar around, and I got a bunch of ginger, so it shouldn't be too hard to put those together and make something. On another note, that one potato was a Kennebec that had fallen out of the bag when I transferred out of the closet to go plant at the farm, and I opted to stick it in a planter pot. I've transplanted it in on top of here, and it's taken off like crazy, so that's pretty cool. And it's actually already ahead of the potatoes at the farm that were planted earlier than it was. So that goes back to that environment, soil, nutrition. Environment dictates gene expression. I'll keep saying it. So here are those King Arthur pepper plants that I transplanted. These had a foliar feed a couple nights ago, and they're starting to take off nice. We'll keep an eye on them. And then the rosemary is out here. And then the Meyer lemon tree is out here getting much better sun and feeling much happier and healthier as a result of that. And then I have the lemon verbena out here as well, and that's responding dramatically immediately to both the sunlight and the foliar feed. Just a quick checkup on the stuff in the front. These are the blood orange. These are the purple sweet potatoes. Those are getting propagated probably tonight. The other version of holy basil, one of the 4 that came. Not as much a fan as that as I am the nice one. Sweet potatoes, a little bit of somebody chewing on them a little bit, but those need to be propagated in tonight as well. Thyme, put a little bit of soil down on that to help root out a bunch of new cuttings. This is that tomato from the integral greenhouses. It was in the lab, and we bumped it up to a recycled mixed soil pot. And that other mandarin orange, and the olive, and the primary, the 2 main fig trees there, the rosemary from my friend Amanda, and the fig cuttings that kept drying out, probably rooted deep down into that olive. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We needed that. We needed all this rain. Thank you. So I've been working on AutoCAD drawings all afternoon and a little bit of video editing. Idio editing. So it feels good to come back to the farm and get outside, be around the birds chirping in the soil. Don't you know? I've been planning for some planting for a while. Anyway, so potatoes are up. We got some good rain in, some real good rain. The soil is nice and damp. It's been real hot, mid-90s, sunny, dry, baking conditions, which is why we don't see a lot of weed pressure in here yet. Although I will point out that we are starting to see the beginnings of some weed pressure showing up here. So pretty soon it's going to be time to manage those weeds in some form or fashion. I was hoping to get some cover crop stuff down on these before those started to germinate, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. As I was saying, I was trying to get some cover crop seed in here right away, right after, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. I have work to do on the forward and stuff, so gonna have to play it as it lies. So I may come back in here and seed other stuff. I'm probably gonna seed some holy basil and some sweet Thai basil and a bunch of stuff I have a ton of seed for. We got loose open soil. You know, we can get something established in here to have a crop we'd rather grow over a weed or a grass. So I'm gonna take advantage of that as much as I can. I've got a bunch of tomatoes, as I just showed you. I'm gonna try and get those in this left row, which is not planted to anything yet. So I'm just going to run those up there. Those are mostly like Roma plum type tomatoes, Scatolone something or other. They're from that Italian seed company. So I'm just going to go rip them in. Spotted my little local farm cat pal hanging out. Garden against mice. So in about a half an hour, I got 2 flats in. It's about 200-foot row. 1 more flat of tomatoes with me to do. That should fill most of the end of this row. And I got sweet potatoes, which I think we're going to take up top with the ginger, turmeric, etc. It's sort of a semi-cover crop. We'll talk about that. So I'll just let you have a quick look here at the native soil profile, where we've cut the edge away about 6 inches in depth, and you can see the varying soil structure there. just so you have a comparison of what that looks like versus what it looks like after it's been hilled and worked. Only one season, hasn't been hilled much, very long. And then we're going to run this through some work. If I can, I get mulches down on these as quick as I can, but we'll see. And so, never far away, nature's providing, of course. These are black caps, typically is what they're called, but they're actually wild black raspberry. They're delicious, and they'll be ripe very soon. And this clip is some berries just for Ronan and Kai, my two grandsons. So there we go, 300-foot row of tomato in there. 3 different varieties, no, 2 different varieties. There's like a plum variety, and I can't remember if this other one is a plum variety or a beefsteak variety, but they're also from that Italian seed company. So should be excellent. And the scatolonis are the ones I grew before years back, and they were amazing. So hoping I can do them justice here in this new native soil, but if not this year, there's next year. So I decided to drain the tank on the forward here so I can get this cowling off and down and out of the way and untangle the massey from it as a boom support, basically. And figure things out on the forward, but have the massey free to do other stuff. So. You think it might be time to clean that float bowl out? I think so. The rabbit just came around and sat next to me here, hanging out. Doesn't care at all that I'm here. This is why we have to fence. Right, dude? Right, Mr. Bunny? Hey, dude. Yo. Are you even listening? He's not even listening. Amazing, see how fast they can eat? See how much grass they can eat? Crazy, ever sit and watch a bunny just wolf down grass. That whole stalk will be gone in 10 seconds. And he'll eat another one in the next 30 seconds. Vegetation devastation. So here we are in that upper section. We got bunnies hanging out all over the place up here. But things are growing. Tomatoes are starting to get established. Turmeric is starting to take off. Ginger's starting to take off. Holy basil's taking off. And I'm going to put some sweet potatoes in here somewhere. So planting sweet potatoes, I've gone through and sectioned out pieces of stem and planted like so. I'll just pull this up quick so you can, it's just a cutting. But this soil is nice and moist. And so I'm just going to stick these cuttings in. And they've already had a shot of Accelerate and a few other amendments in a foliar feed not too long ago. So they're kind of primed for takeoff. We're supposed to have thunderstorms tomorrow into tomorrow night, and then clearing out Monday and being a little cooler. So hopefully they'll have a chance to get the root established and get going. I've taken a bunch of those, and I'm up to my little marker there with a knife, if you can see that. Now I'm coming back. I'm just going to pull these out and separate them out and maximize division, basically. But I just thought I would show how many of them are actually in here underneath that soil ball. And you know, they're small, right? So I'm just going to stick these in and let them grow, and they can propagate. And so now we got a bunch more to split, and I'll split these vines out too. Like I'll probably take this guy here as a piece that I've got right there with my thumb. Just this. and the root piece with it. And I'll separate this out. That'll be a chunk. And each of those has a root on it, so each of those is a piece. And then here we got a few slips. So there's lots more division. I can probably fill the rest of this row pretty easily with just what's in this crate. And then I got the purples, so I'll play with that too. So all together, we got about 100-foot row in of sweet potato there. There's a little bit left around the curve there, the space that's open, and I have some purple potato, and there might be a couple of oranges in here too. So I'm going to propagate those in there as well, and that'll probably fill the end of the row out. And that'll be that. Chose to go on this side. The soil's a little bit more dark, a little higher in humic matter and aggregate and moisture. This upper side has a little bit more stone in it, and a little bit more shale. It's a little bit drier. And you can kind of see that how the peppers are. And they're doing okay, but they would be doing a little better if they had a little more moisture in those hot days. And again, I need to get back here and get some mulch down. Right, so those purples are sprinkled in real heavy down in that far end and the curve there by the pink flags. This whole row is planted out. We have thunderstorms forecasted for tomorrow and possibly more this evening. Skies support that forecast in visual appearance. And got almost another 400-foot row of tomato and 380, whatever it is, down that run out front. So lots of new plants in. I got to get back here and do some foliar drenches. So after the heavy rains, I'll come back and do some foliar drenches with inoculants and nutritional supplements and support some healthy growing plants. And that should kick us off to a pretty good start for the growing season. I do also have some seed I have to throw down, I guess. So a bunch of different stuff here, but basically some holy basil and some catnip. I think there's catnip in here. And some sweet Thai basil. There's some old King Richard leeks here. I don't know if those seed are going to be any good, but I figured I might as well scatter them out here. We'll get a bunch of seed down, and then we'll see what takes. I find the holy basil and a lot of the basils, if you sprinkle them down on native soil like this and you have good moisture in the right conditions, they'll tend to sprout for you, and you don't really have to do much work to get them in. So that's the plan, since I have excess seed that I grew in the lab. All right, I laid down a bunch of seed. Some old King Richard leek seed down here in the trench between one of the potato rows. A bunch of different holy basil. Just soaked everything in seed up top there on sweet potatoes and ginger. You know what time it is. It's time for that beautiful sunset if we can catch it. Actually, I think it's going to be a thunderstorm coming at us. And that's perfect timing to drive that seed in. Soak it up and get it germinated. Yeah, no sunset tonight. Tonight it is impending doom. Impending doom, I promise you. That's quite the heavy thunderstorm, rain front, something coming right at us, about to blast. So that timing was excellent. We got tomatoes in the ground, we got seed down, we got sweet potatoes in the ground. Game on. Next round. You know what time it is for me. I gotta go home and do some editing so I can serve this video up to you, make some coffee, and then figure out my next 30,000 moves for farming and everything else in life. Hope you found this interesting or informative. Thanks for watching the Farmers Seed Network. And remember, keep your friends close and your farmers closer.